The future of climate change policies is also very much in doubt, and there could be big takeaways for investors. Let's talk about it further with our featured guest of the morning. She's Lenka Martinek, managing partner at Nordis Capital, and she joins us right now. Lenka, thanks a lot for joining us, and happy New Year. I know you're very focused on sustainable investing, and we'll get there, but first, the big picture. The recent news reports have suggested that at least the signals coming from the White House are that Trump does intend to put 25% tariffs on goods shipped from Mexico and, most importantly to us, Canada, into the United States very early in his administration. How would you size up the economic threat that Canada's facing right here at a time when we have big changes coming to our federal government?
Sure. So I think it is appropriate to consider it a fairly large threat for Canada. This is one of the areas I think that Trump, we should take him closer to his word. I know Trump says a lot of different things and not everything is followed through on, but this is one area where I think we should take it fairly seriously. We may not get 25% blanket tariffs, but most certainly the direction of travel is in that direction. Maybe there will be some carve-outs in some industries as sort of, depending on which lobby groups or what areas are able to have some clout. But whether it's the Liberal Party in Canada or another party that takes the reins over the course of the next year, I do think that investors need to be set up to understand that that tariffs will be coming on Canadian goods. And what we know is that most of that that will be borne by both the U.S. consumer and by the exporters.
Are there areas of the U.S. of the Canadian stock market that you would avoid on this tariff threat?
Well, I mean, obviously, anything that is where any market that is being any Canadian company that is going to be takes most of their business from exports is what the things that we need to worry about first. So, for example, in our portfolio at Nordis Capital, we have this really nice Canadian bus company that you might be aware of, NFI Group, on that trades on the TSX, and that's one area that we've pared back some of our positioning because we know that the Trump tariffs are not going to be kind, neither to sort of the renewable energy sector or the electric vehicle sector, or just in general, it's a big export market. So you can see the latest little bump up in NFI Group is based on some board management changes, but generally the sell-off that we've seen over the last couple of months, I think, is in large part in fear of what will happen to this sector in a Trump world. So it's a sort of area that I think investors really need to be aware of and factor into their portfolio.
You specialize in sustainable investing. That's offering opportunities to clients in ways to profit from broadly speaking, among other things, the transition to a less carbon-intensive future. Donald Trump unlikely to participate in the Paris Climate Accords. Pierre Poilievre almost certainly going to tear up the carbon tax proposal. What does the new political landscape mean? And I'm assuming Poilievre is the next prime minister. That's a big assumption, but were it to happen, what does the new political lie of the land mean to investing opportunities in this space?
So a couple of points. I think one thing that investors often confuse, there's a difference between sustainability investing in terms of picking themes that will be appropriate for the next 3 to 5 years versus ESG investing. And so absolutely ESG, this idea of, of sort of owning companies that have high ESG scores is taking it on the chin really for the last couple of years. We see net outflows in ESG related ETFs, for example. So this is definitely not something new. But what I think is might be kind of the almost sort of ultimate contrarian trade is this idea that actually under the Trump administration from 2016 to 2020, a lot of sustainability themes did really, really well. So, for example, the renewable energy sector actually did much better than the conventional energy sector. I'm not saying that it's going to be necessarily repeated today in the next 4 years, but there are most certainly some themes that I think will do extremely, really well, irrespective of who sits in government. That said, obviously, we do have some huge political risks in terms of, as you rightly mentioned, the idea of the AXA tax in Canada, for example, and the sort of sentiment towards the energy transition is definitely going from a massive tailwind to a headwind.